Hello and welcome to Let's Review. I have played some odd games in my time, but I think this one kind of takes the cake. This is probably the most meta thing I have ever seen, and frankly, rather than try to do it justice with a proper introduction, I'm just going to get on with it and skip straight to the gameplay. This is a game with many different elements, all of which build in to its primary combat system. The first of those elements is its combo builder.
This is the game's combo builder, and I'm just going to demonstrate using our primary character of Neptune for the simple reason that that's the easiest way to do it. Attacks break into one of three categories: rush attacks, power attacks, and break attacks. You also have an initial attack which does not change. So from here you have a limited amount of command points. So at the moment Neptune has 259 total. You gain more and more as you level up. So for example, if I go into here, if I wanted to assign rush to my rapid combo, that would cost me 25 CP, which I don't have spare at the moment. And as you go through the game you will unlock more and more advanced versions. Now Neptune I tend to use as my heavy hitter, so as such she uses power attacks mostly. So you can see I have lots and lots of different attacks here. So I have my basic power edge, which I get right at the beginning of the game. And I'm now far enough in that I've unlocked the Terra D drive, which requires 50 CP, but is very, very powerful. If I wanted, I could use attacks with magical abilities that also add an elemental damage. So that's either fire, ice, wind, or lightning. And that is basically it for that. Then there is the break combos, and break combos are designed to get through an enemy's guard, which you'll see a little later when I demonstrate the combat. And again, because Neptune is designed to be my heavy hitter, I've got her using the most powerful break attacks she's got. Finally, you have the EX finishes. These are things that you get as you go through the game, and they have various things, and you can use them when your XE level gets to a specific point, and again you'll see that in the gameplay segment. You also have this Desperado ability, which is one that's unlocked based on the partner character who's with them, and I'll show you that again a little bit later. And you can have up to 4 of those XE attacks equipped at once, and it's good to have a variety of different things there that'll do different things. And ultimately, that is it for the combo breaker. So if I quickly show you Vert, just because she has lots of different rush attacks and no power attacks because she's a much faster character, and so it makes more sense to use her abilities thusly. And fundamentally, that is it for the combo builder.
The combo builder is fine, and I do like the way it makes you prioritize which attacks you want, though at the same time that does limit the amount of attacks you'll actually have available in a fight, because you've had to pick them all beforehand during the combo builder sections. The next major system is of course the inventory, which is supported by an interesting little system called plans.
The equipment in this game is much as you would expect. You have your swords, your armlets, your accessories, your special discs, your clothing item, your additional clothing item, and then for the characters that have it, you also have your processor, which allows you to see them in their CPU goddess form, which again has various things and items. The items you get for these are relatively rare, and as such I haven't changed many of these from their basic items, which is just the purple in the case of Neptune ones. If I go to the sword segment though, one thing it does show you is the area in which it attacks. So if I look at the Claymore, that's got a wider area of attack than the Armus. However, the Armus is also more damaging. If you compare these to the weapon I currently have equipped, then they are significantly weaker. And as such, I won't be switching away from the variable sword, which is what she currently is using. If I quickly go to Vert, I can show you some of the different things that the clothing changes. And basically that is it for that system. It's fairly straightforward. In addition, you have the plan system. And the plans break up into various categories, so there's systems, dungeons, and items. Items are exactly what it sounds like. It will allow you to add more items to shops. So for example, if I had some more venomous thread and some more gale stones, I could add the time bangle to shops in order to enable me to buy it. The items for this are quite rare, so you'll probably have to do a lot of grinding in order to find them. But if I go to items, you can see that I did manage to find the ones for healing pods and for netballs and for, right down here, life fragments. So overall, you can find some of them, however you will have to get a little grindy if you want to get all of them. It's also worth noting that the party system has a system called Partner Setup, which allows you to team certain party members with other party members. Because by this point in the game, I've acquired a not insubstantial number of party members, but you can only have 3 in combat at once, with these 3 acting as their support. And again, I'll show you how that works once we reach the actual combat segment. And ultimately, that's it for this bit. There's a lot of subtle extra stuff to it. For example, you have the Lily system, which defines how well the characters work together. And you can also tweak your battle formation, but that mostly amounts to where each character starts. And ultimately, that's it for the inventory system. It's nothing complicated, but it is very functional.
These systems ultimately are fine, though finding a lot of the crafting resources can be an absolute pain in the neck. All of these things feed into the main gameplay that allows you to explore the world and experience the combat.
This is the primary gameplay screen of HyperDimension Neptunia. It allows you to run around the world, explore, and you can pick up items like this over here, assuming you're not getting chased by monsters. The monsters, of course, are the big threat of the game, and one thing that it does allow you to do is hit them with a surprise attack. So you can swing your sword like that. If you hit a monster, it will give you a quote-unquote symbol attack.
Now,
I didn't do it there because I got a little bit too close before I hit the button. However, because my main character of Vert, or one of my characters of Vert I should say, is especially fast, she gets the first strike anyway. Now, this blue box in front of her indicates the area she can strike. Different weapons, as you saw earlier, have different striking ranges. So it makes sense to angle your characters to hit as many enemies at once as they can, which is what I'll do.
I won't go easy.
Now, Vert's abilities are bent more to quick strikes, so rush attacks. And rush attacks have the advantage of filling the Xe drive faster. So if I use a Sifflet Sickle, you will notice that our Xe drive has now filled to level 1.
How is this?
I'll repeat the process. Because we have an Xe drive at level 1, we now have access to our Xe finishers, which again you saw earlier. So here I'm just going to use a Venom Storm ability.
Prepare yourself. Finally!
Which has actually poisoned the big critter there. Neptune is my heavy damage hitter, but unfortunately she doesn't have that wide a range, but it's just enough to target both of these enemies, largely because this guy is quite large.
Yeah.
So if we hit him, I'm going to use break attacks to hit their guard points, which is this blue line here. So that will do health damage as well as guard damage, but it does more damage against their guard. Once their guard is gone completely, then we can do an awful lot more damage. You will notice that only 2 of our Xe attacks are available. This is because one of them, Desperado Strike, is related to our partner character, Noir, and we don't have a Lily rank high enough to use it. The other one, Dual Edge, requires an Xe level of 2 in order to activate. So I'm just going to hit them with a Blaze Break.
Blaze Break!
Which does fire damage. Now that guy just went into virus mode. That is a problem because that makes him significantly more powerful, as you can tell from the amount of damage he just did to Vert. As such, I will use Blanc, who is an extremely powerful tank-type character, to hopefully draw his attention.
Here I come.
And our Xe drive has now reached level 2, so she's hidden with an Einschlag.
It is finally my turn.
Now Neptune took some damage there, but she's quite tough. Now there has been some damage taken, so what I'm going to do is take this opportunity to switch characters.
Is it time to change already?
And bring Compa into this fight, because Compa is my primary healer. Now, these creatures heal, so it is logical to take them out before we attempt to take out the big bad guy. Incidentally, if I chose to, I could attempt to escape there, but I'm not going to because I'm not too worried about this fight as of yet. So I'm going to hit this guy, and his guard is now gone, which means he'll take a lot more damage, and I'll hit him with Dual Edge, which is quite powerful. Compa has various, well, all the characters have various SP skills. Compas are the ones you will use the most because they are the healing abilities. So I'm going to use Compa's first aid ability to heal Neptune. And that heals 30% of her health. Now, since Blanc is extremely powerful and has the range to hit multiple enemies,
Here I come.
She's also our best tank.
Take this.
So I will have her strike hard and use an Einschlag, which should kill that enemy. Unfortunately, that guy targeted Compa, which is not good. So instead, I'm going to have her use her emergency kit, which has an area of effect to heal both her and Neptune. And that's a very effective healing spell.
Gonna beat you up.
Now, Neptune here is going to finish this enemy.
Here you go. Hey, it's my
And he's
turn.
down. Now, this enemy is particularly powerful, so it makes sense now to demonstrate our Exi Drive attacks. Whereas the Exi finishers simply require you to have the Exi gauge at a certain level, the Exi Drive will actually use up that Exi. So the hard break ability there, which requires 1 Exi point, will actually use up that much of the gauge. So let's do
Say your
that.
prayers. Hard break.
And whenever you hit them with an Exi attack, you of course get the overlong, over-the-top anime animation, because why wouldn't you? And some of these are very, very, very powerful. Some of them also make use of teamwork, provided your Lily rank is high enough. And that was sufficient to kill
Good
it,
job, everyone.
because those Exi attacks are extremely powerful. If I'd wanted, and if it had been necessary, I could also have transformed during that fight to make us more powerful. However, that's something that you tend to save for boss fights because, as I say, it's very powerful and you don't need it that often. And fundamentally, that's really it for the actual combat gameplay of HyperDimension Neptunia. It's got a surprising amount of depth, and you do get a lot of stuff as you go on. You don't get those Exi attacks until you hit level 25, for instance, which takes quite a while. So overall, there is quite a lot to it. And fundamentally, that is it for the combat.